Obviously, this is the song Galazi has given us this morning, and Spider was talking about it. It is called The Enemy's Anthem. A very beautiful song, Galazi. Thank you so much. 18 and Spider, Now, let me move on to Duchum Sadiq. Officer, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadiq.
Thank you for waiting for us. You are very disciplined. There are some people, when you give them 9, they'll come at 10. Yeah, but my producer gave you 9:30 and you were even here before 9:30. God bless you so much.
Thank you
it
so
tells
much.
me that you are a serious security analyst. Security people don't joke with their time.
We are trying our best.
I know, security people don't joke with their time. When it is 10, they know that work will start from 10. Exactly. Now, what is the work of a security analyst, even before we go into the nitty-gritty?
Alright, Sammy, I think I first of all want to use your medium to say hi to all the listeners out there. And I must say that you're also doing a fantastic job. And I listened to my brother here before when I got in, and I was asking myself whether he's also a security analyst. Fantastic job. Well, the issue with analyzing issues of security is just by looking at how things are going. How things happen. When they happen, I mean, what are the measures that you need to put in place? Sometimes you need to do some of this research into it and even predict and then be able to inform people that, I mean, these are some of the steps that you need to take. I mean, so there is that hardcore security issues, and then, I mean, when it comes to paper, so whatever that we do on paper, we might have to transfer it to the ground. And so that's basically about looking at issues around protecting individuals.
I like the opening. Now, our discussion is going to be a little biased on show business, celebrities, and maybe entertainment. For the rest of the discussion, I'm sure we'll leave it to the national security to handle. But we are going to do show business, we're going to do celebrities, and maybe bring entertainment events and more. Does every celebrity need a security around him or her?
Yeah, Sammy, I wouldn't say every celebrity, but every individual. And security is a personal
if
responsibility.
I am nobody and I'm working, going out and about my duties, what do I need a security for?
You might not really need somebody as a person to guard you or to protect you, but you have to protect yourself. Okay. So there's what we call responsibility to protect, which starts from you as an individual. So right from your bedroom, I mean, you're moving in and out. I mean, you need to be very conscious of your environment. You know, there are often times that we make reference to the advanced countries where we tell you that when you go to maybe UK, you have some old men who are positioned somewhere. They look at movement of people and they are able to predict that this is what the person is up to. They give alarm and all those kind of. It is similar thing that we need to do to ourselves. One example is this. For instance, you are driving on our roads or in the traffic. One, you need to look at the car before you and the car after you. What is their movement? You see, this one, you don't need somebody to be there to tell you. So moment you see funny movement around, you should be able to be conscious of yourself, and then you create the alarm, either by calling the police or, I mean, try to take some precautions. So everything starts with you. Now when it comes to celebrity, yes, these people become public figure. They go for shows here and there. And so your life in that moment becomes sort of a threat. Now you see, human in our nature, we always compete for certain things, right? And so once you do that, it means that you have to have some people around you to protect you, because you cannot do that entirely. For instance, you're on stage performing. Can you equally protect yourself? Somebody has to be around in order to protect you. And so for celebrities, yes, there's a need for them to have that personal bodyguard. But what sort of personal bodyguard are you having? I mean, when I was called to talk about this, one of the things I was reflecting is this. And you and I are also I'm also in the media. There are a couple of times that we get to meet our friends here and then, and you could see that, truly speaking, their life is in danger.
Our
security,
our
celebrities. In terms of how they protect themselves and all of that. I mean, maybe the topmost ones are now probably going for the Macho Man and the bodyguard, or the bodybuilders and all those kind of things. But that in itself is not the things about security, right? There has to be that conscious effort of learning the intricacies of security in order to protect the person. So if you ask me to guide you right now, what are the things that I'm looking for? Right? One, I should be able to have that investigative conscious mind to detect, to know that this movement of maybe spider us getting closer to you might be a danger. There's that sense that you get. You get my point. And then in that, we have the circles of protecting an individual. It comes in three shapes. So we have the outer security, you have the inner, and then you have the innermost. So if you want to take the issue that happened at the dome typically, then I'm asking, who is the innermost in the innermost perimeter protecting maybe Stonebwoy? After that, who comes next? And then who is the third person becomes the outer shield for Stonebwoy or any of the celebrities of the day. You see, before you even think of the security apparatus that have been put in place. So you see, the point where Shatta possibly moved, you might not even get to Stonebwoy. If this
all these
measures is in place, he might not even get to Stonebwoy. There will be a stoppage somewhere where now the security apparatus may be out of they also enjoying the fancy movement might have forgotten themselves. That second person will definitely protect or stop before they get to you see the whole thing. So before you can do that, it means that the person has to be trained. That individual need that sort of training in order to be able to curtail all of this. And then when you are moving, you know that you are safe. Two, even to the point that when it comes to your vehicle that you are using, I mean the person that you entrust yourself so much to, that is your bodyguard, should be mechanically inclined. Yes. Because you see,
these are serious points you are raising.
Yes, my brother. Because you see, there are points where we have seen people, their tires have been deflated in a way. Maybe they are going from here to Takrady. You get your tire deflated in a way. By the time you get to the middle of the road, you have had an accident. How will you detect that? Maybe your engines have been tempered. Maybe you have a problem. You're going to the mechanic shop, right? And then by the time your car comes, maybe something has been tempered. You might not know who is following you. So even that bodyguard that you trust so much should have all this. So the moment you move, you should know the car you are even using, how it sounds, how its specs are, and everything in and out. So that if you are moving, the person can even check and can tell you that, hey boss, this very morning you go and use this car. You might ask you why.
Hold it there for me. Hold it there for me. Hold it there for me. I'm sure we will need like 2 hours to do this, because I have not even asked my questions yet. By the way, Sadiq is giving us some various revelations here on the show. I have a feeling that if your artist, your manager, if you guys are not listening, please tell them that something is going on Xylophone FM that they need to listen. It is a must. His name is Adu Chum Sadiq. He is a security analyst. So this morning we are trying to get into his brains, get some knowledge on what to do in terms of security. First, he's told us something very dangerous. He's saying that most of our celebrities' lives are at risk. Because what do you call security? It is not security. Now Sadiq, let's continue. I am celebrity A. Should my security be a macho man? And then I'm here.
Okay, we have something we call deterrence. So sometimes it is necessary. But that in itself doesn't give you security. The person, on the other hand, I'm saying that the person also should be somebody who has really been trained.
I'm sure I have to go back. Go back. So if you're a celebrity and you have someone around you, you call him your security and he's not trained, that is a non-starter. The fact that he's not trained.
It is. You see, why I'm saying so is this. Maybe I know my brother here, and I am an up and coming artist, you call them, right? So the moment I'm coming up and then Sammy Flex gets me on one record deal or something, and this man becomes more or less like my bosom friend. So I will entrust my everything to him. So I'm going on stage, maybe what I'm going to drink, he's the one who's going to take care of it. But from the beginning, you can trust me that he might not be somebody who has had that kind of training. You get my point? But by virtue of the fact that we are together, we do this, maybe he's a little bit physique strong, and so he'll be able to protect you. That is one aspect of it. The reality of security itself is getting somebody around you who has that kind of knowledge. It doesn't mean that you should go go employ maybe a police person or something, but that person, you can ensure that he can be trained. You get my point? To have this conscious mind, so that anytime you are moving, he's able to protect you in one way or the other. So that is very necessary. It is not the physique. One, some of them are not even strong.
They're macho men.
They're macho men. Trust you me.
They just have the muscles.
I mean, they just have the muscle. And you see, if you meet somebody who is really tough, it is not your macho. You get my point? Some are very tactical. They come in various ways. So that person should also be very tactical. Now, on armed combat, does the security, the person that you have entrusted, does he know when it comes to an armed combat, when it comes to armed combat, how, I mean, handling of weapons, because in this case there was a weapon that will, how is the person's professionalism when it comes to handling of a weapon? And we are not just analyzing. I have served in the Ghana Navy for 10 years.
Good.
And so most of the things that I have had opportunity, also being part of presidential guards during meals time. And so you come to understand the sense of protection. You get my point. You come to understand the sense of protection. So for instance, if typically, I mean the days of Jerry Rollins, right, you see there's always one person who is rightly close behind. There's another person before the entire place is called in, right? So it is going to be hard for you unless you get what's, you know, when we're watching movies, there's snipers here and there, those kind of, unless it will get to that point before the person can be hit. So if celebrities indeed, they are celebrities, they are very important personalities in our society. I mean, look at the number of people who were at the dome. I mean, we're talking about the British High Commissioner was there. If we take that one aside, I mean, high-powered people were there. All of them, they went there because of our celebrities. So it tells you that their life is very important and needs to be protected.
If I'm going for a show that I'm expecting about, say, 10,000 people to come, I am the top performer on the day. How many people should I go with as my security details? How many people would you advise?
Like I said earlier on, see, it's so if I give you the cordon that I gave you, the outer security, you have the inner and then the innermost perimeter, right? So I'm going with you, Sammy Flex, you are the top star performer. Okay. So I am your innermost perimeter security personnel. So you would love for me to be around the stage area. So we can be 2 or 3, right, around the stage area. Before the stage area, there should be some other people who are also very vigilant. So they become the second cordon. Now there are people who you have to, if you have the numbers, you can even deploy some who are sitting among the people, because you might not know. And all these things, maybe sometimes because of the arrangement, you might not really take it so much of a concern. But it is not the numbers. It is just the strategic positioning of people that you have.
So sometimes you even need someone among the crowds who is part of your security detail.
Of course. And if you are that hot cake person that probably you might have fracas with other people, you should be able to even get people in the other person's camp.
You have to get snitches.
Of course. It's very important. You see, because I'm saying that we are human beings, we compete for space, we compete for position, we compete on all these other things. It might not be necessary to harm, but you want to get things right. Now, you are going to the dome. There is also the responsibility of the organizers, right? And then the security apparatus itself. So definitely they are going to contract maybe the police service who are for the civil order, right? Okay, so you have to, first of all, let them know what is going to happen at the end of the day. So when this discussion has been going, one of the questions I have been asking myself, how was the police briefed? What were the modus operandi, right? What was going to go on? The measures that they need to take. But sometimes we know that, oh, okay, so the police are on top of their game. You write your letter to them. You tell them that, okay, so we're going to have music awards night. Maybe we need about 500 people, or we need 100 people. Then we leave everything to them. Just a small briefing. This is all we need. So it is up to the police people now to come in to now position. But you see, certain briefings can be given to the police, because I was asking, was it that there was going to be a point in time that Shatta has to go on stage to maybe say something to the to Stonebwoy in order it even forge that kind of it foster unity, right? And it even enhances the program. Was that thing going to be done? Listen, some of these things can be pre-arranged. If it is not done, then it means that there has to be a clear instructions given to the people in the dome. That is, this is the inner perimeter, right? Because when I watched the video, I saw just before the Shatta was going on the staircase, there was this, dressed police officer there. So I asked myself, what was he doing?
Why did he not stop him?
Why did he not stop him?
Maybe he saw Shatta. Hey, I can't touch Shatta.
Exactly. So if you go to the sports stadium, what do you see the police people do?
They watch
you turn and against it. Whatever is happening on the pitch is none of your business. So, but what was the briefing I was given to such a police officer? What was the briefing? You see, so that we can curb all this. And so when we are doing all this, we don't want to put blames and put stoppages here and there.
Analyze this.
Yes, we need to get the whole thing so that next time we'll be able to do this. So this briefings has to go, and it goes to not only the charter house, but any small event that you are organizing. Even if it's a home party, you really need to. Because you have RSVP, right? So you need to tell the RSVP that maybe this is what's going to happen at this point in time. This is not going to happen if you say this is what you are supposed to do. So that the person becomes conscious of himself, not just put the person there and then you expect the person to perform, which in any case that's largely what happens.
I am talking to Adutum Sadiq. He is a security analyst. He has been in the business for over 10 years. He has worked with the Navy and all that. Today we are getting some information, education on our security, especially at our event. Now, Sadiq, as a celebrity, should my security people be full-time employees for my firm, as in maybe I belong to the Flex Nation? Should I employ people full-time for my Flex Nation activities or part-time? Okay, today I'm going to Suhum, then I go and contact some security details. Let's go with me. After that, I pay them off and it's done. What should be the ideal situation?
Yeah, I know we have certain security firms that are doing such things. So one-time events, looking at the nature, and then you can now go for hands for them. But what we are talking about is more or less a personal security thing. That if you can have 1 or 2, 3 people that you can afford, then once you are a celebrity to that level, then I will wish that you will have to do that. So if Flex Nation. So I'm sure you'll be promoting events, you'll be doing this, you'll be doing that. I say yes. So if there's a need for you to get some people that can be trained, so that you know that these people, because it's about trust, you know that these people, I can really put this program in their hands and they'll deliver. When you do the additions, they are the ones who are going to take charge and tell the people that, look, Spider, yes, Spider, you need to please stand here for me, do this, you understand? Because they have and understand what you are going to do, because you might have planned also with them. So yes, you can have extra hands to support you, but their roles will definitely be controlled by the people that you have.
If you are a security person for an artist, when he goes out, when it comes to food and drinks, what is the advice to these people before such products are given to the celebrity to consume?
Yes, so I'm going for a program. I know the program will last for an hour or 2. You will need water. Basically, I'm sure when you are performing, what you really need is water. Vegetables. Okay. Yes, these are where the danger is, right? So, like I'm saying, I love Lennox Lewis for this. You know, in his entire boxing period, it was the mother that was cooking for him. It tells you how he valued security. Because I don't know what your mother will poison you. So anything
unless she's a witch.
So anything that is not coming from that person, trust me, is away. So I'm working with you. I'm in charge of your drink, your water. If the food has to come in, I have to go get it myself. So, but I can't leave you whilst I need to go get food, right? So there should be another person who probably maybe I've sent you. Okay, so I'm with this guy, so go get this when it comes. You see, the danger is this. You know, sometimes we sacrifice when it comes to the core security. Sometimes you sacrifice people who take bullets for other people. I was even thinking, if it's so calm, not because of the rigorous nature of how you perform on those kind of things, We have bulletproof in different shades. I mean, there are some you can easily. There's some of them are not that heavy. I mean, we have modern ones that are very lighter but very effective and those kind of. You can even get it because you might have to look at the time frame of your performance and all those kind of things. So yes, the person protecting you, you have to get that person to protect what you drink and all of that. You don't take in anything. You sometimes have specific places that you eat from. Trust you me. You need to have. You need to have
shouldn't
those
just
kind
be
of
eating
haphazardly. No, you can employ. You see, when it happens like that, you are able to trace when something happens. So I'm in your house, right? So you can get a cook who will be in your house with us. So when we are traveling, he's with us. So they've cooked your food, is in maybe in a warmer or something. If something happens, it's very very easy for you to trace, and then you can work it out from there. Aside that, bro, you don't need to joke with your life. Aside that, you don't need to joke with your life.
One development that I'm also seeing in our event and celebrity lifestyle in Ghana is that these days most celebrities, they move with guns on them. They move with weapons on them. At least last 2 Saturdays, it is evident that what happened, we all saw it. A security person rather handed over a gun to the artist. As to the purpose, it is still not clear. But then, as a celebrity myself, as much as I have my security guards around me, do I also need a gun on me for self-defense, self-protection?
Yeah, okay, so what would be the purpose of going for the gun in the first place? Obvious is for self-protection. But do you have that emotional capabilities of handling a gun? Trust me, one of the things I never liked was handling weapons. Even though I said
after 10 years,
I'm telling you,
you were not comfortable.
I was never comfortable going to the range and all of that. I was never comfortable.
Why? You are scared of bullets?
You know, if you don't take care, you can easily lose it. You see, and this is something that the moment a trigger is pressed, you can't take it back. It is going. So it means that if you are handling weapon or you apply to handle weapon, it means that you should be highly conscious of yourself. Because one, it can even harm your own self. Do you know the proper operational handling of the weapon itself? Is it just by pushing it in some case by your side or something? No. So you should have a good idea of handling a weapon. That is the first starting point. Yes, you need to, because at a point in time maybe your security detail itself might be under certain huge attack, where it gets to a point that you yourself have to also defend yourself. So definitely that is very very important. But as to handling it is another thing, because it has not been our thing. We are now getting into, because of the sophisticated nature of how security has become. So we are also getting into it these days. So on this one, what I will advise is this: that yes, if you need to handle a gun, please, you need to be emotionally strong, in order to be carrying weapons around. Because if not that, the least provocation, you are bringing out your gun, and you see it is something that is of a high deterrence rate, right? So anybody that sees now becomes like this. But in that case, how are you even drawing people to yourself? That is also another, because in as much as your life is under risk and all of that, but hey, people want to see you, they want to do that. So most often, it is the people around you who have to take this kind of responsibility. When they are solid, trust you me, you are okay. Unless there's some, they are not, or there's some other expertise.
Great information for you, Adichum Sadiq, our security analyst this morning. Obviously, giving us education, giving us tips. If you are recording this interview, remember it is free, so you pay him later, because the kind of education he's giving to us, you wouldn't get it anywhere. Now, how safe are our event grounds, Sadiq? You have been around, at least you go to some of these programs. When I'm going to any event to perform as an artist, should I put at the back of my mind, oh, she see me pack up performing my bam fee and Charles Momenko or be on pom fashion, more be a pepper spray, be a moment fine sapine, you go have fun. The mobile me a fire condom in case you not get beer. Passion. How safe are our event grounds?
Sammy, okay, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but even that afternoon, you know, one of my guys was going for tickets. So when we got there,
also a security person?
No.
Okay.
So when we got there, I saw these barricades for the people, those who are not using cars. I think it was on the right side and on the left side. The cars were pass going in all this kind of thing. Even at that point, I told myself that there are things that are going on is wrong. Because you see, the moment they see that you are Sammy Flex, right? Flex. You are allowed to enter.
Even when the place was not ready at the time.
When the place was not ready at the time.
Yeah.
But you see, the moment the place has been acquired for that program, to the day it ends, security starts from there.
From that morning, if you don't have any business, you are not supposed to even enter the premises.
Yes. So who are those coming in? Because people are going to arrange for the maybe stage
Sound
light
check
and those kind of things. All those people need to be cleared.
By security.
Of course, it's very important.
So the security people are not supposed to work when people are paying their tickets in.
No. So that's what I'm saying, that there has to be stages of
the whole country will failed. Because nobody does that. Now I know I can say on authority that when we are going to have an event in the morning, we'll be at Miko room, sound check time, go be at Miko room. The security people only come to work when we are about to take money.
Okay, so then from this moment as we are discussing, maybe we need to visit that, because what I'm saying so because you might not know who went there first and what the person has done. So I'm doing sound check. What if I put something around? And these days when it comes to weapon comes in different shades. So how would you know? So even in itself, it has to start from there. So I mean, we need to, because the industry is becoming big every day. So we need to take certain precautions in order for us to make the artists that are coming safer. Okay, so I'm saying that they start from the very beginning. So what I saw that afternoon, I told myself that no, I think some certain things are not really safe, because the people who are walking are so much scrutinized that you ask yourself why. But the one who sits in a car, the moment you roll the glass down and then you see the person, then the person is going.
Meanwhile, they can also put in whatever.
Because when it comes to security issues, you might not know. That is why somebody said that you don't even have to trust yourself. So that's why I'm saying that even as you are having a gun, you yourself, you have gone for a gun to protect yourself. You can't even trust yourself of protecting your own self, because sometimes psychological something can happen to you and you will might want to shoot yourself. So why would you want to then entrust your whole destiny into a certain system? So that system has to be well positioned to safeguard the security of whoever. It is not only the artist, everybody around that place has to be protected, because one soul lost is huge.
See, elsewhere, I remember when we travel out and we are going for events, you know, no matter how cold the weather is, if you have the jacket will not enter. Like say you go to in O2 Arena and you enter with your jacket, nah. Even if it is 1,000 people entering, you still take off your jacket, hang it somewhere. They have some booths. They'll be giving some notices, as in numbers and all that. That your jacket and your other things are here and all that. Should we at our event also start inspecting the ladies, their bags, the gentlemen, their jacket, like Chief Charles was check jacket, all right, baby, and weapon bisha. Should we now be very, very strict on all these things?
I think it's for our own good. So if you are going to see the president of the country today, trust you me, you see the checks you go through.
Your phone crowd will not be with you.
Exactly. So by the time you get there, if you are, I don't know how you're going to survive in there. I mean, I don't know how it's going to be. So so there has to be various points to check all of this. I mean, there are gadgets that we could easily use to detect some of these things. And you see, by our nature, I'm saying that we will not play on it, but by our nature, we see ourselves as that very relational. And so until recent time that all some of these things are happening that we begin to think this way. We will not either to even bother so much about it. But as we move on with all kind of terrorism around us and all of those kind of things, I'm thinking, and I hope that while the authorities are also listening, I mean, Xylophone 102.1 FM goes very far as they are listening to us. Event organizers and all that, they should put in proper security measures to check all of this. There's nothing wrong checking a lady's back. That is why if you go to security checkpoints, if a man cannot check a woman can check a woman.
Exactly.
So we can't put all these measures. Yes, if we cannot have, maybe our auditoriums are not that huge in such a way we can have this placing of maybe jackets here and there, but we can still screen people so that we can, I mean, get whatever weapon that we feel that individuals are carrying. We can get them out of. Why would you want to go to the dome with pepper spray? You are going to spray who? If the things are done proper, you are safe. You are really and highly safe. You see, so who are you going to spray? And a lot of people are saying that, okay, in our Kan language, we say that so if our brother didn't go to the stage, what would have happened? I mean, if you watch, those of you who are traveling and watching events, somebody wants to show some appreciation for the fact that the brother has won. Sometimes they stand from where they stand up from where they are sitting, they clap in a very nice way to show appreciation. And other times, though the person on stage even recognizes and then wants to extend and those kind of things. When that one is done, it's foster proper unity, and that is the way to go. If there's pre-arrangement for the hypes and those kind of things, that in itself has to be done proper.
Thank you so much, Adu Chum Sadiq, security analyst, giving us all the do's and don'ts. I believe you can also come through to ask a question at this stage. Maybe you are the manager, you are an artist, and you've gone through some 1 or 2 security challenges, and you want to ask. Feel free, come through and ask that question. We will permit you. Now, someone just sent me a message that, Brasami, I'm listening to this interview, and I have a feeling that generally we are all not safe. Take your time, we've not gotten there yet. Chief, at this stage I open it up. You guys can ask your questions before I will come in finally. Sadiq will be leaving us very soon. He has other duties for the day.
Well, for me, not necessarily questions. Maybe a few contributions here and there.
Are you also a security analyst?
I did a research into cybercrime at master's level. So there are a lot of security implications with that. That's why I could make comments, and then it felt that I'm into security as well. But when it comes to security, everybody has a natural right for self-protection. That's why even Almighty God, in creating all the animals, embedded security mechanisms in every animal. So every animal, including humans, have ways of protecting themselves, and it is the first line of defense, self-protection. What we're doing is analyzing the security at the just ended VGMA.
And other events, subsequent events.
Based on the analysis he's done, it is safe to assume that even we as a people, we have a culture of lax security. There was a research done by a journalist, one of multimedia journalists, recently, when there were rumors of terrorists entering our nation and so on and so forth. And he said he dropped a bag in one of the busiest markets.
It was at the mall.
Okay. And surprisingly, they accepted the bag. They didn't know the content. He went his way, roamed around, came back later, and then asked them, so weren't you afraid? Why didn't you ask what the content of the bag is? And everybody just assumed that he's a good person because he was dressed nicely, so he couldn't be harmful. And this is a mirror, or if you like, the microcosm of who we are as a society. I think we need to really begin to be security conscious. And so, did VGMA fail to ensure that guns weren't taken into the auditorium? But if guns were taken into the auditorium, were they handled by the authorized people? Because in this case, we saw clearly that the gun was handed over by one of his security details, Stonebwoy. It's amazing as he detailed the levels of security we need to have from a professional standpoint. The guy was very close, so it must be that he was in the inner perimeter of Stonebwoy security, because you could see clearly that there were several levels of the security provision. In fact, when the fans got on the stage, what's his name? Black City was the first person to have an encounter with the
who was not a security person.
Who was not a security person?
The manager.
But he was throwing blows. You could see clearly. Before, and for me, I could count no less than 5 or 6 people surrounding Stonebwoy.
So they are the people he referred to as the inner security.
Perimeter people. And then one of the inner perimeter people handed him a gun. I think that guy should be the one being prosecuted, not Stonebwoy himself. Because what's your duty? But the question, it begs the question, if he is a professionally trained security, I'm sure if he was, he wouldn't have acted the way he did. But you see, security also has the highest level, not the physical combat and the physical provision. The highest level of security is trust. When, like I said from the beginning, we all owe it to ourselves to be self-protective. But when you grow larger than life, as the stars and so on and so forth, you need an extra layer of protection. Because your life and everything becomes of interest to people. Once you become a public person, you have equally good number of haters and lovers. Those who would like to harm you for the sake of it. So, yes, you owe it to yourself to have an extra layer of security. But that extra layer of security must always come accompanied with trust. Look, Thomas Sankara was killed by his personal bodyguard. The one who had access to him 24/7 and who could walk into his bedroom was the one who shot him. And it's a story of many, many world leaders who have been, killed. And these were done by their personal security bodyguards or the person who was cooking. So the highest level of security really is trust. And that comes with the fact that then it means that when you become big, people you have known, maybe people you have traveled life with, maybe some old-time friend, maybe someone you grew up in the same neighborhood or the same house, could be the most trusted person providing security for you at that level. But it means that the person must be trained to be security conscious. So it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who served in the military or a police personnel, but someone who is so close you can trust with your life. But the person can be trained not to do combat security, but to do the first level of security where they look out for red danger and threats. Someone who can tip you off. Someone who can actually help you escape. For me, that's where security counts. But I think in going forward, security, for public events must be redefined. What that means is that when there are going to be events, there must be serious security detailing communicated. So that when people come to the venue, they know what to do and what not to do. Even for me, I think to an extent where event organizers must actually detail what can be brought into the auditorium and what cannot be brought. So that if you carry a certain thing or if you carry something, it can be, whether this one is a security threat or not a security threat, so that you can be sure that at some level there is safety you have provided. Just my little contribution.
Thank you so much, Chief Charles, for that contribution. Now, Sadiq, I'll come back to you before I'll move on to Spider. There is a young man on Twitter who is himself a macho man. In fact, he has really built his muscles. His name is Kennedy Kenton of Kofi.
Metro.
And he is following the discussion and he says, Sammy, I think macho men are the right people to handle our security jobs. Nothing more and nothing less. I'm sure, sir. Macho Man say. Macho Man say. So he's saying that when it comes to artists, macho men are the right people to handle our security jobs. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm sure he's even saying this because during our political campaigns, what do we see? We see our own politicians going for well-built guys, aka
Sammy,
the vigilantes.
those well-built guys, they are only used as scarecrows.
Okay, so let's give
When
that.
politicians
Wait, Chief,
yeah.
wait. Let's give that area to Sadiq to give us that final education on it,
Yeah.
because it is obvious. Almost all our our celebrities, when they go out, you are likely to see one macho man or two. They are safe. Job is done. So finally, he mentioned it in one of his submissions, but because Macho Man just sent this tweet, maybe he can handle it. Sorry,
Alright.
he can handle this
Okay,
for me.
Sammy, I want to borrow the words of Mr. Charles.
Mhm.
You know, yes, physique is one deterrent, right? It is good. But I'm saying that, and like he said, beyond that, there has to be that intelligence level of which you can still maintain your job as a macho man. So, and he said that, and I'm still borrowing his word. You see, our brothers that are used on the political front. I mean, today we all know what happens because most of them are not really skilled. If you are skilled, trust you me, there's no way that they will abandon you after. Trust you me.
If you are skilled, there is no way they will abandon you after.
Yes,
They will keep you with them.
Of course, but the question is, I'll ask this question: why, at a certain point in time, they brought in people from South Africa to come and train some of these people? Because there was the need for that. Because they want to sharpen their skills. They want to let them understand the issues of security, so that they could detect and then protect the people. So our brother Macho Man's job has not ended. What he can do is that he has to find himself a way to train himself. You see, if you go to Kofi Annan, there are short courses that are done in security issues where you can understand some of these things. Some of them a day, 2, 3, but then you build it up from there. These days, the internet is wide open. You can also read yourself. The YouTubes are there. You see videos that will educate you in the comfort of your room. So all you need to do is to put some value on your machoism. Because if I'm coming to you as a macho,
Sadiq, let me tell you what I see when the foreign artists, aka the world stars, when they come with their security people to Ghana. When they come to Ghana and their security people are around them, you don't see them doing no. At every point in time, they are very calm and collected. When they see someone is getting closer, they will just stretch their arm smoothly and they push it over. But our macho people was looking for around our artists. Hey! Small boy, you know where it is to Not small boy, it is to that
also comes with what we call personnel management. There was a point, I won't mention the comedian's name. Then he came to the studio, and then this is my personal manager. Then I started engaging the personal manager. After everything, I told the guy that, look, you are not safe. Because the person you have employed to manage your so-called affairs doesn't even know you. He doesn't even know you. So it means that the levels of training here we are talking about, it is not only the just having the nose to sense what is around, but even personal management, like even relating to people in itself, it could be one of the way to go. So like the person stretching his hand nicely, the hand that is stretching, you might not know what is following. So you yourself would definitely go back. But that has been their culture. So we also have to inculcate that into our system, and then have a new change. Like you said, there should be a real defined movement of our security setup, so that when you are coming, everybody will be fine, and so you know that, okay, once Spider is the one who is supposed to. Sometimes you might even be able to tell the people, okay, so when I'm coming with about 3 people who are, so when you see also, so please allow them to do their work. So when the person is coming, Sammy, please, you can come at this very moment. Whether even you are the manager at that moment, what are you going to talk about? Your managerial thing.
Seek clearance from us.
So that's what he said, and I really followed what he's saying. Everything is explicit and explicit. So you have gone to the stage, manager. You are coming, like he said, a very close person to Thomas Sankara was the one who shot it. Yes. So there is always that somebody should be watching over the watchman. Yes.
I have one question to ask you still about our security, but then let me pay attention to some of the tweets from our people. Spider, you will still talk. Hype Man the hottest says, "We wouldn't be here if this never happened. Shatta did us a great job to be talking about the security."
Yeah.
Sammy, this is just a question I want you to ask Sadiq for me. Who should handle a gun?
Every individual, I think, within our laws, that is why you need to apply. When you apply, you go through certain procedures before you can actually possess a gun. So yes, they have to. It should be mentally upright, right? And so it's part of the procedures. You should be somebody who hasn't got any criminal records. I mean, you should also not be not even being violent in itself, or just being calm cannot actually detect that you can't be violent. But there are procedures that I know that the applying for gun you go through.
Do a psychiatric evaluation.
Yes, I mean there are a lot of procedures that go through before you can own a gun. So if maybe that is not done properly, then we have to also look at it. So our brothers should know that any individual can, but it should be of sound mind, and then you go through the procedure, then you can own your gun. When you own it, there's also the responsibility, because I'm sure you'll be guided as to how you do it, and then they will tell you the things that comes with it. So misuse or abuse of gun comes with its own issues. So if you want to land yourself in this, which is not a very fine
as a performer on a stage.
Oh, as a performer on a stage.
Is it safe to have a weapon on me as a performer on a stage?
It is not. It shouldn't even be there. It shouldn't even come. If, like what Mr. Charles is saying, if we are going for they set the standard. This and this and this and this are not supposed to be here. And you have the checks that will ensure that this thing doesn't get in. Why would you want to worry? You don't need to worry. So why would you want to carry a gun on stage? What of accidentally?
Because of threats.
What of accidentally? Because you see, there's always some seconds of preparing the gun. So it's not as if when you just pull it and then you do this thing. Or does it mean you've already clocked and
I have locked it.
You have locked it. You have clocked and you have locked it.
No, I've not clocked it.
You have not clocked it.
I've locked it and it is in my pocket or something. But I'm on a stage because of any other thing else.
It is not necessary. It is not necessary. That should be done by. If it is supposed to be permitted, then that is, for me, it's supposed to be done by those around. That means that you have really and highly trained the people to be very conscious. You don't need to be a police officer at this discussion that we are having. You do not need to be a police officer or a military person before. Anybody can be trained. If you are not trainable, get the person to be trained. And then get the person to have skills and an idea of all of this, and then you can be protected.
See, Adu Chum Sadiq, security analyst, has been our guest. Now, Sadiq, my very last question. After going through everything and I got my security people, when I'm going out, how should they dress? Because sometimes our security people think that because I am a security person for, say, Shatta, Stonebwoy, Samini, I should always put on that cloth that will reveal my arms. How should the security guy around a celebrity dress? This is my last question.
Okay. I think we always say dress to suit. So depending on the occasion, I'm sure there will be prescribed dress. But what happens is that normally those that we see as protecting these celebrities, they dress in a certain way. So maybe probably a decent suit, because sometimes they might have some gun to cover it, not to show, and all those kind of. So decent dress could do. You don't need to show too much of yourself, because in yourself, you are even at risk. So sometimes you don't need to show much of yourself. Two, my brothers here have made a very resounding statement. That one, it is not about the numbers. It is about the expertise. Yes. And it is about the trustworthy, the technicality of the person, the capabilities of that. So your driver, your cook, your manager itself, and then maybe one other person. These 4 people all need to be trained. Any of them need to be trained. If you have not done that, if you are listening to us, and in fact I'm I'm so happy for today's program. I'm very, very happy. I'll give you a very one scenario. When Obama came to Ghana and we were going to Cape Coast.
Were you part of the security team?
Yes, I was part. I am a Muslim, right? I'm not saying this to leak out, but we are educating the people. And you asked of dressing. I am a Muslim. I dressed in jalabia, and in my jalabia was my AK-47.
Was it white or black?
It was a cream color.
And the AK-47 was in your jalabia?
It was not transparent. My AK-47 was in the jalabia. It has a head cover. I was not close to
Obama.
The terrain, not Obama itself, but I mean, it comes in different forms. I was not close to where let me say, we're even an advanced team to go check some of the things that are going. But whilst he was in Cape Coast and where they were going around, you'll be positioned at a certain level. Where I was positioned, my business was to just go around and seek for information. So I was just walking around. My AK is in. So you will just see me as a normal. Also, Obama Bob. You get my point, but I know what I was doing. You see, so you might not have to be doing noise, this, that, but cool. I mean, you need to even relate. When you relate well with people, you can get information for your
Sadik, are you available for consultations for some of our artists and their managers?
Yes. I mean, anytime, any day. Not even at a fee. Anytime, any day.
Not at a fee?
No.
So would I be wrong to put your number out?
No problem.
Mr. Massive, come and get me the number. Jata, Montreal number, mami from Massive, no, Montreal number, mami na. Sadik wants to be the sacrificial lamb for our security.
Exactly. I think that was one of the work that Christ came to do.
He wants to be the sacrificial lamb for our security, especially among showbiz people. So if you are listening to us and you want him to be briefing the people who follow you, I'm sure your DJ even adds up to your security at any event.
Exactly.
He should also open his ears.
Exactly.
Everybody around you, even that girlfriend that you have been traveling with.
Yes, even the girlfriends, you need to have one particular one that you can.
Oh, that one there.